Last week was not a good week in terms of the predictions that I brought to the table, so ultimately the free play ends up crashing here as Sam Patterson goes out there and does the damn thing, but unfortunately Preston Parsons goes out there and just lays a dud, losing to Oban Elliott. And then even if we were able to catch Parsons, Bobby Green goes out there and does the worst thing you could possibly do against a guy like Paddy Pimblett, goes for the takedown, ends up finding himself in a submission. Very weird fight IQ there from Bobby Green, but still didn't matter as Parsons was the anchor for a lot of my plays last week, and he did not come through. Frankly, there seems to be a UFC event every weekend, so we're going to try to get it back this weekend, and I got another 3 legs for you guys here, obviously starting off with the Locky two-step. Just a reminder, there is PFL and LFA this weekend, and I have broken those down video format for PFL, which you can find on the YouTube channel. But if you're looking for LFA breakdowns, you can find that on the MMA LOTM Patreon page. Link for that in the description below. All right, let's get right into it. First step up in the Locky two-step is going to be Shamil Gadzhiev as he goes up against the middling heavyweight Dontel Mays. Now, Mays is 4-4 through his 8 fights with the UFC, 4-5 if you want to consider the no contest against Hamdi Abdel Wahab. But I really expect Gadzhiev to go out there and put a pace and pressure on Mays that Mays is not ready for. I think we're going to see a classic Gadzhiev performance here, taking Mays down with relative ease and smashing him from that top position, eventually finding the finish within the first round and a half, and hopefully cashing our first step in the Locky two-step. The second step, main event, we're going to go Umar Nurmagomedov. I don't really like going with the Russian tax or anything like that, but I feel like he is probably the best bantamweight on the planet right now. I feel like his unique striking approach will allow him to be competitive against the unorthodox approach of Corey Sandhagen, but ultimately it will be decided by the wrestling of Nurmagomedov, as that will allow him to separate himself from Sandhagen throughout this matchup. I think Nurmagomedov has just been waiting for an opportunity like this to prove to the UFC masses that he is deserving of a UFC title shot and deserving of being considered the best bantamweight on the planet. And I think this performance this weekend will remind people that there is a Nurmagomedov at 135 pounds, and he may be just as good as the eagle that ruled the 155-pound division. Putting those two together earlier this week, I was able to lock in at -120, so slight, not dog odds there, but very damn close to pick'em odds there, but -120 on that parlay. If you were to lock it in right now, you would be able to get -124, so not a whole lot of movement there. And a reminder, I dropped these Locky two-step and Locky Trinity parlays on the MMA LOTN Patreon page earlier in the week, so more often than not they're able to get better odds than when I drop it on Friday to the public. Unfortunately, the Locky Trinity ends up being a little bit juicier, with a lot of action coming against the third leg that I have for you guys here. So the first or the third leg is going to end up being Joel Alvarez as he takes on Elvis Brenner. This is going to be a violence-packed matchup here, as I expect both guys to be going out there and trying to find the finish. But I think Alvarez's size will allow him to dictate the pace of this fight, and I think his power will end up reigning supreme. Whether it ends up with him going out there and clubbing, subbing out Brenner, I really think that he brings in just as much ferocity as he brought into his matchup against Thiago Moises, and really looks to walk down Brenner here and eventually get him out of there. So there has been some Brenner love coming in this week, which is why the line is slightly better later in the week than it was earlier. So I locked it in, and for tracking purposes, I'll be tracking +178 for this 3-leg parlay. But right now you can get it at +187. Not too bad of a price hike there for you guys. So there you guys go. Free parlay for UFC Abu Dhabi. I'll be dropping another video later on this evening for the 3 best prop bets for this weekend. See you guys then.